Welcome to Science Snaps, the short tutorial series by Wody van Vlos. Wody van Vlos is an open access publisher for scientific publications founded in Hamburg, Germany in 2020. This episode covers how to manually add a research paper to Google Scholar. But before diving into the steps, it is worth taking a moment to explain why this matters. Google Scholar is the most widely used academic search engine in the world. When researchers, students, or practitioners are looking for literature on a topic, this is often the first place they turn. A paper that appears on Google Scholar becomes findable. And if it is findable, it can be read, discussed, and, crucially, cited. Citations are the academic currency of scientific impact. The more visible a paper is on platforms like Google Scholar, the higher the chance that other researchers will discover it, build on it, and reference it in their own work. That directly affects citation counts, the H-index, and the overall academic profile of an author. Now, papers published with Wody van Vlos are, as a rule, indexed by Google Scholar automatically. However, this automatic indexing can take some time and depends entirely on Google Scholar's own processes. For that reason, Wody van Vlos recommends that authors add their papers manually to Google Scholar immediately after publication, rather than waiting for the automatic indexing to happen. This video shows exactly how to do that, step by step. This is the Google Scholar homepage at scholar.google.com. An important prerequisite before getting started. Adding a paper to Google Scholar requires an active Google Scholar account. Anyone who does not yet have one will need to create one first using a Google account before being able to add papers to a personal profile. Once logged in, the interface looks exactly like this, clean and straightforward, with a search bar in the center and recommended articles shown below. The first thing we need to do is to navigate to your own Google Scholar profile. You can see the red arrow pointing to your profile picture in the top right corner of the screen. Go ahead and click on it. This brings you to your personal Google Scholar profile. In this example, you can see the profile of Professor Atena Wody from the University of Applied Sciences Ried. The profile displays key metrics such as total citations, the H-index, and the I-10 index, as well as a list of publications that are currently linked to this profile. This is the central hub for managing your academic presence on Google Scholar. Now, look at the toolbar just above your list of publications. The red arrow is pointing to the small icon with the stacked packages located right next to the word title. Click on that icon to open the article management menu. A small drop-down menu now appears with several options. Add article groups, add articles, add article manually, and configure article updates. As the red arrow indicates, we are going to select Add Article manually. This option lets us enter all the bibliographic details of the paper ourselves, which is the most reliable way to make sure everything is correct and complete. The dialog box now opens. This is the manual entry form. You can see several tabs at the top for different publication types, including journal, conference, chapter, book, thesis, patent, court case website, and other. Since we are adding a journal article, the Journal tab is already selected. Below the tabs, you will find input fields for title, authors, publication date, journal, volume, issue, pages, and publisher. We are going to fill these in one by one. Before we start entering data, let's take a look at the paper we want to add. This is the article page from International Journal of Mobile Applications and Technologies, published by Voliva and Haas. The paper is titled User Engagement in Mobile Banking Apps, the Literature Review of Drivers and Consequences, authored by Carsten Giebe, Attila Voliva, and Marcel Gouel. Published on July 11, 2025, in Volume 1, Issue 2 of the journal. We will use this page as our reference source while filling in the form. We're back in the manual entry form. All fields are still empty. Let's start from the top. The red arrow is pointing to the title field. This is where we begin. Click into the title field and type the exact title of your paper. Here's the paper page again for reference. The title is clearly displayed at the top. Make sure you copy this exactly, including any subtitles. The title has now been entered in the form. The red arrow is pointing to the author's field, which is next. Google Scholar expects the authors to be entered in a specific format. Last name first, followed by the first name, separated by a comma, and multiple authors separated by semicolons. You can also see the example hint below the field. Patterson David, Lamport Leslie. Back on the paper page, the red arrows are highlighting all three authors, Carsten Giebe, Attila Voliva, and Marcel Gouel. A few important points here. First, the spelling of each name must be entered exactly as Google Scholar expected, meaning last name first, followed by the first name, separated by a comma. Multiple authors are separated by semicolons. The correct format is shown in the example hint below the field, and any deviation from this format can cause Google to misread the entry. Second, the order of authors' letters. The sequence in the form should match the order in which the authors appear on the publication itself. And third, a note specifically for those authors who publish under multiple first names, multiple last names, or who sometimes use abbreviations for their names. It is strongly recommended to keep the name format, including the exact spelling, the order of name components, and any abbreviation, consistent across all publications. The first author has been entered in the correct format, Giebe, Carsten, semicolon, with a semicolon at the end to indicate that more authors will follow. The red arrow points to the field, reminding us to continue adding the remaining co-authors. The two remaining authors we still need to add to the form. All three authors are now in the field. The red arrow confirms the completed authors field. Now we move on to the publication date. The red arrow on the paper page is pointing to the published date, which reads 2025-07-11. Google Scholar accepts several date formats, for example, 2008, 2008/12, or 2008/12/31. We will use the full date format for precision. The publication date 2025-07-11 has been entered in the form as indicated by the red arrow. Note the order of the date components: year first, then month, then day. This is the format Google Scholar uses, which may differ from regional conventions. Authors who are uncertain about the exact publication date, for example, if only a year or the month and a year are clearly stated on the publication, can simply enter the year on its own or the year and month. Google Scholar accepts all three formats. Entering just the year is perfectly valid and preferable to entering an incorrect full date. Next up is the journal field. The red arrows on the paper page are pointing to two different positions where we can find the journal name. We will use this journal name for the next step. The journal name, International Journal of Mobile Applications and Technologies, has been filled in. Two things are to keep in mind for this field. First, the journal name must be entered with exact spelling, including capitalization and any punctuation exactly as it appears in the official publication. Even small variations can affect how Google Scholar links the entry to the correct journal record. Second, this field is exclusively for the full journal name. It is not the right place for journal abbreviations, acronyms such as IJMAT in this case, or identifiers such as the ISSN. Only the complete official journal name belongs here. The red arrow is now pointing to the volume field. We can see from the BrevPro navigation on the paper page that this is volume 1. Volume 1 has been entered. Back on the article detail page, we can see the red arrows pointing to the issue number, which is issue number 2 in this case. We can therefore add issue number 2 in the corresponding field in Google Scholar. The red arrow moves down to prompt us to fill in the next field, Publisher. Wohlleben and Ross Publishing has been entered in the Publisher field as the red arrow highlights. The form is now almost complete. All the essential bibliographic information is in its place. This is the moment of truth. The red arrow is pointing to the blue checkmark button in the top right corner of the form. Once you click this button, Google Scholar will save the entry and add the article to your profile. Go ahead and click it. And there it is. Back on the Google Scholar profile, the red arrow is pointing to the newly added paper. User engagement in mobile banking apps, a literature review of drivers and consequences, listed in the International Journal of Mobile Applications and Technologies, Volume 1, Issue 2. The paper is now part of the public profile and can be found by anyone searching Google Scholar. Finally, this is the article detail page within Google Scholar. You can see all the information that was entered: title, authors, publication date, journal, volume, issue, and publisher. The abstract has been pulled in automatically, and the citation count is already being tracked. There's also a link to the PDF via ResearchGate in this case. From here, other researchers can click Cited By, find related articles, or view all available versions of the paper. And that is it. In just a few simple steps, you have made sure your research paper is visible and findable on Google Scholar, which is one of the most effective things you can do to increase the reach and impact of your work. At Wohlleben und Ross, we publish open access journals across a range of disciplines. Open access means your research is freely available to everyone, everywhere, with no paywalls. Combined with a strong presence on platforms like Google Scholar, this is a powerful combination